Hello. Final two teams. Titans and Kings. The semi-final entrances. 6-game wins is all either of them needs to lift Mjolnir. That's the name of Thor's hammer. And I guess that's what do we call the SWC trophy? Do we call it Mjolnir? I don't know. But anyway, that's all they need to win. I lost a lot of my gravitas there, didn't I? 6-game wins is all they need to take home the Smite World Championship. Tartarus Titans. Titans. Coming in as the first seed to SWC, coming in off of winning the two previous playoff events. One against the Kings and one against, was it the Leviathans? Phase 2 playoffs? I think so. Should really know that, huh? It's been a while. It's been like 6 months, surely. It's been ages. It's been a long year. I've done a lot of boozing, okay? Give me a break. Titans, the favorites for the tournament. My personal pick for the team who will win the tournament. But where are the dangers for this team? What do they need to do to make sure they come into this? Well, I think I'm going to start with the risk which both these teams have, I guess, which is that they're coming in without having played a competitive Smite game since that Phase 3 playoff final. They played against each other, 3-2 win for the Titans. So both these teams are coming in relatively cold, whereas the other teams have just played through the SWC play-in bracket. They have already played a quarterfinal before they go up against these guys. So definitely that is a danger that either of these teams could have. There's also, I think, a danger you can fall into where if you don't play comp games for a while, you kind of get into the rhythm of scrims instead. There can be a danger of that for both these teams where they're in a scrim rhythm rather than a comp game rhythm. The games do flow differently. They do play differently. Typically, early game pressure is a lot more prevalent in scrims. People make more mistakes. People are more willing to go for all-in plays to try and pull back even a slight lead from the other team. Like, you do much more risky things in scrims than you do in particularly SWC matches. The games tend to go late, and late game team comps and late game strategies tend to win out a lot of the time. So that's something that these teams, I think that's a couple of things these teams need to watch out for. Going back to the Titans, though, let's talk about their team. I mean, you've got to say that it is an SWC monster of a team. Cyclone, Spin, Paul, and Benji, I think, are three of the most storied and impressive players on the Smite's biggest stage. You know, I think Benji is probably the one you'd point to as maybe the best ever World Championship player. Maybe that United year eating into his dominance a little bit. But other than that, that guy is just crazy and performs so well. I still have nightmares about that Camelot in Season 4. Don't want to think about it. Don't want to talk about it. Paul, 2 SWC victories, 2 MVP-worthy performances. What more can you say about him? And Cyclone, a meta which suits him. Magical ADCs are inbound, not the player. And he is a monster on Freya. We'll see how he does with it. We'll see if he can whip anything else interesting out as well. So I think those 3 guys, you've got to hope pop off. I guess the only one you might worry about a little bit is how will Paul adjust to this meta. Hunter mid, I think, will be the dominant strategy at this event. That's the way I see it. Will Paul... He didn't go towards the Book of the Dead builds in the previous event. He didn't kind of adjust to the meta that the other mid laners were peddling. That did get nerfed since then and probably isn't as strong. I think it still will be picked up a few times maybe on certain gods, but won't be as common. But how has Paul adjusted to the meta? Has he? Is there any danger of him being stubborn here and not going towards hunters, which I think will do well? We shall see. I think he'll move towards them. He's a dual player, you know. He's definitely got the hunters in the locker. And I guess the other one, you look at Aurora and you look at Layers. I think Aurora, you've got to say he's been there. He's done it. He's done it all. I think he will not be feeling the pressure. But there is maybe a little bit of danger of Layers feeling a bit of pressure. He's won console world championships before. Can he come through and do it on the biggest stage of all, the PC Smite World Championship? He's the danger, I suppose. A lot of the play on this Titans team through the early game goes through him. He kind of plays as a pressure equalizer, plays that Camelot, plays that Erlang, and does a really good job of it. But if something were to shake his confidence or something like that, maybe that's a danger they could have. I think this team, though, just needs to keep playing as they're playing. And in my opinion, they win. I think they had the best meta previously. The meta hasn't shifted that much. I still think the jungle picks, the solo picks, the support picks will all suit the guys in those roles. And I think the mid and ADC picks, although they've changed, I think they're still strong picks for Paul and Cyclones. So I don't see any great issues for them adjusting to the meta, as long as they're willing to do it, as long as they're not too proud, too stubborn. But maybe they'll prove us all wrong and just play the same way they were played before and keep dominating. We'll see. But yeah, that's the potential pitfalls, I think, for the Titans. Kings. Again, I'm going to go towards support and jungle for the Kings and say that's where I think they need to have those guys performing. I think Genetics, when he's confident, when he's playing well, calling well, can be one of, if not the best support in the world. He can be incredible in those situations. I think he makes some of the best ballsy shot calls in the league. So hopefully they come in and they're feeling it and they're confident and they've had great scrims. And Genetics is playing well. Twig as well has had shaky moments at SWCs, both in jungle and in mid, I think. I think he's a player who's going to do that. He plays on the edge a lot. He plays, he does the dirty work for teams and he is willing to get in there, sometimes almost too willing. But we'll see how he can do this event. Variety, I expect to have a pretty good tournament. I'm not expecting Season 3 Obey Variety to come back and he's suddenly dominating the solo lane like he was then. There's a whole other video on why that happened and why he played individually incredibly. I don't think he's somebody who lets pressure get to him, but also the entire way Obey played back then was almost to get him ahead, or the entire way we set up in those games was to get him ahead and give him the space to perform like he did, particularly in that final against NRG. But yeah, I think he'll perform well. There is danger for me. Big Man Tings, I'll say that first. Big Man Tings, I'm so confident in Big Man Tings. God, that guy is a monster. He has played so well all year, on ping, on different picks, can play whatever he wants, can do whatever he wants. I'm a Big Man Tings, Big Man fanboy. That's me. I think he's superb, and I think he will play well at Worlds. I do. I think he'll handle the pressure pretty well. Netrioid is the other one that you could maybe see having some issues. He has had a very sparse god pool in recent times. He tends to just gravitate towards one or two picks and go with them. Could we see him be focused out in some picks and bans? Could we see him forced onto some uncomfortable picks and play badly, and that could knock his confidence? Maybe. I think that's a possibility. I do think the addition of Freya to the meta is good for Netrioid, though. I think he's a great Freya player. He's the one I put up there with Cyclone Spin. If you're gonna put some guys on Freya, it's gonna be those two, in my opinion. Although Stuart did a pretty good job of it in the placement rounds. So yeah, I think Netrioid, if he's forced off sort of your Izanami Heim, and maybe he's not had a good game on Freya or something like that, and he's forced onto some other picks and starts having a rough time, I think that is a potential danger for this team as well. But I think if they come in, I think the Kings are a team who will win by thinking rather than by playing. I think they'll win by coming into this event. If they win this Smite World Championship, I think they'll coming into this event with some novel ideas and some preparation and some anti-stratting and stuff like that. They'll put a lot of time and effort and thought into the way that they can win these games. I think they're a very smart team with a lot of good ideas, and that's the way I think they can play and win. I think they can outsmart teams rather than maybe outplaying them. I don't think we're going to see them just win by being the best mechanical team, by doing the same thing as everybody else but better. I don't think that's the way it's going to happen. I think they would have to have something else going on, you know, have some great draft wins, have some great ways they play the map, great objective calls, things like that. I think that's the way the Kings win, rather than just kind of going into 5v5s and playing the same gods as their opponent, but playing them better. But yeah, hope that wasn't too rambly. Well, I felt a lot less prepared for the Kings than I did for everyone else for some reason. But yeah, I'm gonna be. Do I rep the Kings at Worlds? I am. They are basically EU. Gotta say, they got an Australian and a South American as well, but they're basically EU. You know. But yeah, we'll see how they do. Thanks for watching, everybody. Looking forward to SWC. Hopefully, you'll all be checking it out, both on my channel and twitch.tv/SmiteGame from Friday. High-Risk Showcase Day starts Wednesday as well. God knows when this goes up. Probably I'll try and put it up before Wednesday, I suppose. Well, nah, it'll probably go up after Wednesday, actually, come to think of it. So, useless information. Thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Bye.